Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us for another segment. In this segment, we're going to be speaking with TV personality Anthony Sully Sullivan. He's made a living selling products first at county fairs and then on television as the OxiClean Guy. Myself and many of our listeners probably recognize you, Anthony, as the OxiClean Guy, but your life took a detour, I do believe, from your television career when your daughter was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Sully. How are you?
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate it. It's nice to be here. Yep, people know me from OxiClean. OxiClean gets the tough stains out. But yeah, my life did take a turn a few years ago. So it's been an interesting pivot.
Give us a little insight into what led up to this pivotal life change.
So I have a little girl. She's 11 now. Her name is Devon, and she was born with a duplication of chromosome 1 and chromosome 13, and she has a rare genetic disorder, and it manifested itself in many ways. She has learning disabilities. She has speech issues. She has difficulty with her diet and just the physical act of eating and digesting food. She's had a congenital heart issue, cognitive issues. And she was put on an anti-seizure medication back in 2017, 2018, and she had some really bad side effects. And she lost 20% of her body weight. Her personality vanished, literally. It was one of the side effects of the anti-seizure medication, and a host myriad of other conditions. And myself and her mom were pretty upset with what we were experiencing, and more, my daughter was upset, and she was nonverbal, so she couldn't really communicate how she felt, but we could see what was happening, and it was pretty obvious. So we opted to try to go down the plant-based wellness alternative and turn to cannabis and CBD. And at first I was a little reluctant, because I associated, with the whole cannabis movement with getting high, and hadn't really, looked at taking a deep dive into the medicinal benefits of it. Anyway, long story short, we were able to get my daughter off the pharmaceutical and replace the treatment with CBD. And that led me to decide to get into that business. I was so inspired by what happened to my little girl that I bought a farm in Vermont, and I started growing and got an organic certification, and now actually have my own line of CBD, best-in-class CBD products called MONTKUSH, all sort of inspired by my daughter.
I want to get right back to MONTKUSH, but I'd like to ask a question. In transitioning your daughter from the medications which were stealing her personality to CBD, were there any concerns, any problems, anything that you'd like to impart to our listeners if they decide to do the same thing? Were there any withdrawal from the medications?
Yes. So it wasn't something we just stopped the medication overnight and did it unsupervised. We went back to her neurologist and we explained that the side effects of the medication she was on were something that we weren't comfortable with. The neurologist was not, like most doctors, they were like, look, he did not unprescribe her, but he did suggest that if we were going to go down this road, that we were very, very careful on taking her off the medication she was on, as is the protocol. And again, I'm not a doctor, so if anyone is listening to this, please, if you decide to substitute one medication for another, please, consult your physician. And I say that with, I mean that when I say that. Don't go just randomly, hey, I'm going to stop taking this and try something else. It's something you should sit down with your doctor and family members and whomever is your healthcare professional. So we were very careful and very diligent about how we tried. We lowered the doses according to with the neurologist's help, and then we had to sort of experiment with the CBD and cannabis world because it was sort of an unknown, and it's still to this day, it's difficult to get a medical doctor to say this is what you need to do. And from what I can see, and I can only speak from my experience, is everyone seems to be different. Mm-hmm. Everyone reacts to CBD in a different way, and for whatever reason that is, whether it's the endocannabinoid system within the receptors in each person's body, everyone seems to have a different reaction. We were able to wean my daughter off, and we actually use our USDA organic rosin now that I make, which I really, I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but the product that I was able to manufacture, and with the help of some friends, we use best practices and it's all USDA organic. So I feel very confident. And my daughter is, the two things that I'm grateful for is she's no longer having any seizures, which that's a win. And that is a total win. But the other thing that I'm so grateful for is her personality came back. And that's how I communicate with Devin. She word assimilates, so she won't have a conversation like you and I are. So, and over a period of time, just to see her kind of put a little weight back on and become a healthy kid with special needs. So, yeah, I was very, very careful I would just stop meds. I don't recommend that. And especially when you're dealing with anything that is combating something that is a psychological or neurological issue that, obviously the brain is a complicated area. So I do recommend that everybody take it very seriously.
You did purchase this farm. You learned how to farm the CBD and the other properties. But I also understand that you kind of made an accidental discovery, which is extremely significant, not only to your daughter and others who might be dealing with the same situation, but the people that are dealing with COVID right now.
So what happened is we decided to go down a solventless extraction. And I don't want to baffle everybody with science, but there's CBD exists in the hemp plant as CBDA. When you grow the plant, and they grow from saplings to almost 6 feet tall in 90 days, the flower of the plant, the tops we call them, the colas, they contain the CBDA. And in Mother Nature, CBD, it's a little confusing, actually exists as CBDA. Now, when you extract it using chemicals or heat or high heat, the CBDA converts into CBD. Because we use solventless extraction, which only uses very, very low temperature and pressure, when we extracted our oil by squeezing it out of the plant, we tested it. We sent it off for third-party lab testing, and it came back very, very high in CBDA, which is that's how it exists in Mother Nature. And everyone told us that, you guys are onto something really special. So we started to bottle it, and we realized there was a big demand for CBDA because it's quite difficult. It's very difficult to extract. It's delicate, and we were able to preserve that in our process. So we had a lot of enthusiasts and people looking for, the best that Mother Nature has to offer. And then last month, in January of 2022, this year, a study was published by Oregon State University linking CBDA that could help prevent people from getting infected by COVID. Now, obviously, this was news out of nowhere. We didn't see this coming, and you can Google the study or look up the study, and it was picked up by major publications. And as a farm, and as a processor and someone who's extracting it, obviously this is great news for us, right? Because if you Google CBDA, it goes straight to MONTKUSH, and we happen to have a USDA organic certified source of CBDA. So it's been great to be able to, most people buy CBDA and use CBDA for help with sleep, for help with relaxation, for help with inflammation due to exercise. These are the sort of things, and we get an amazing amount of 5-star reviews from customers who will share their experiences, and you're welcome to go online and look at the reviews. I don't like to talk about what people are using it for, but to have the link to COVID and the CBDA is just, much bigger than anything we ever planned for. And it's very exciting for us as a farm and a company to be in that conversation. And it's just, it just talks to the power, if you will, of plant-based wellness when it comes to combating a myriad of health issues.
Give us a website where we can learn much more about MONTKUSH, if you would, Sully.
Well, we're at montkush.com, MONTKUSH.com. Just Google montkush.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, same URL, montkush.com. And we have our oils and our tinctures and our topicals. We also have soft gels and gummies. We're USDA certified organic for much of our product line. And by all means, I encourage research. I encourage people to take a deep dive. Obviously, this is a wellness product, and many people are turning to it as an alternative to pharmaceutical medications. And I'm not saying we have the cure for anything, but what I am saying is, it worked for me, my daughter, it works for me, and it's working for many others. And you can find out more at MONTKUSH.com. And I really appreciate and very grateful to be able to tell this story.
And I appreciate you joining us this morning, taking the time out. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm hoping that you and I can get together and speak some more.
Anytime, give me a call, and I'm happy to reach out, and I'd love to talk about this, obviously, and I really appreciate you having me on.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Anthony Sully Sullivan, television personality who has become a hemp farmer to help his daughter. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in, download at SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.